Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. Moving on to the second batch of books, we'll start off with Amazing Spider-Man number 34. So, where we left off, a classmate of Peter Parker's had unveiled a multiversal computing device that basically could fairly accurately guess certain things, but while it does have many potential big applications, it needs a stronger power source. But the problem with that is that with a stronger power source, it could potentially end up interfering with the multiverse. Actually, that gets revealed here. Whoops. So, also, Silver Sable got the Infinity Formula by a chameleon. Who also, at the behest of Silver Sable's political rival Symkaria, armed the assassin known as Hitman, Countess Karkov. That's the deposed despot of Symkaria. And he just fired a shot at Dr. Doom. Oh, yeah, and Spider-Man of 2099, Miguel O'Hara, also ended up in the present and is in the custody of Roxxon Corporation. And apparently he's having trouble with his powers as well. So we start off with Spider-Man of 2099. He's trying to escape, but he's trying to remember what happened before he came to the present, and he says that he watched the world around him bent and twisted until it broke. We see a quick shot of 2099 Captain Marvel. I think that's also supposed to be Hercules with her. That's the only character I can actually make out definitively. And then Spidey went and talked to Doom, who says basically 2099 Spidey can do something about this. Cut to Peter and his classmate Jamie at Empire State University discussing Clairvoyant, the multiversal computer that Jamie made. And this is when we get the revelation that the power source that it currently uses makes its applications extraordinarily limited. And he explains that it took all day to determine something relatively minor within a pretty narrowly cast net. And to do quantum computing level on a larger scale is a bigger power source, but too much power and it would actually become unstable and start messing with the multiversal fabric itself. And Jamie wants Peter to help him with that. No, however, then Spidey's spider sense goes off, and like I said, Hitman took a shot at Dr. Doom. Countess Karkov is quite happy, quite pleased with this. Chameleon's kind of I'm afraid she's going to become something along the lines of the dog who caught the car. So Spidey goes to check things out. Turns out it wasn't Doom that got shot. It was a Doom bot. Spidey 2099 shows up with some Roxxon goods on his tail. Tries to tell Spidey what's going on. and then he disappears. It's a big explosion, and when Peter comes out of it, there's a wave of Doom bots floating around. It's attacking everybody. And claiming that Doom demands justice. That's where the issue ends. However, we now... Well, everything, however, is continued in... Well... 2099 Alpha, our next book this video. So, some quick backstory. Marvel's 2099 line debuted in the early 90s. It was set in the year 2099, and it was supposed to be, we got, we got future versions of modern Marvel characters, as well as the occasional original character. Only one of those would end up with their own title, that being Ravage, and well, that falls to the less said the better. The breakout star was, of course, Spider-Man, because Spider-Man. And Spider-Man has kind of become the most enduring character from the line. So, looks like we're once again fooling around with 2099. We start off in the Ravage. A young girl's walking around with various things, various quotes going around. Quotes that can be attributed to various heroes, including "With great power must also come," and "Assemble for Asgard, for Midgard, for myself." Well, turns out this young girl, well, first off, Mjolnir is there on the ground in front of her, and she's not entirely convinced. She has a third eye, right around here. Her hair was covering up. In Brooklyn, Jake Gallows of the Public Eye is fighting off a bunch of Thor cultists who have they killed someone and left the body literally hanging around. In Nueva York, Miguel O'Hara shows a designer DNA strand he's come up with to his boss, Tyler Stone, at Alchemax. She refers to as Spider-Man. You also get a glimpse of Conan. And we discover that Doom is there, and he has the Watcher held prisoner. He's asking the Watcher what the Watcher sees. Explaining that he's done what he can to get rid of basically to wipe their existence, the existence of the heroes, and as well as the memory of them from the face of the earth. And our next interlude is a man being chased by the Public Eye, ends up in Transverse City. A biker explains to us how Transverse City works. No laws as long as you keep moving. Guy goes to get his car fixed. It was damaged by the Public Eye, and he's broke. Turns out the guy he was talking to hacked the debt card he had. So yeah, he has no money. So then the guy gets blown up, taken away. Elsewhere, Herbie, the Fantastic Four robot, shows up, asking around to see if people have seen his mother's friends. one of the people asks is about to start dismantling him when the bounty hunter Venture shows up. And so Herbie asks Venture if she'll help him find his mother's friends. There's also another Doom, another imposter. This is actually reminding me quite a bit of last year's Marvel Knights miniseries in some ways. At least so far. And there's going to be 5 one-shots to come. The first of which, Fantastic Four 2099, we'll look at today, but the rest, the next one, Punisher 2099, comes out next week. With, as well as does Conan. Then in December, we'll be getting a Ghost Rider 2099 one-shot, a Venom 2099 one-shot, Doom, Spider-Man, and Spider-Man 2099 one-shot, as well as 2099 Omega, and the finale in Amazing Spider-Man 36. So, as I mentioned, we're going to move on to Fantastic Four 2099. To be fair, I actually, there was a point for a few years in the early 90s I was in the comic books pretty hardcore, including the 2099 line, obviously. However, I had to get out for reasons, and at the point that I did, I'm not sure if a Fantastic Four 2099 could come out or not. So it made sense. The idea made sense to me. So we got a little bit of narration showing, 4 people about to, join hands, and we see the 4 facing off against followers of Thor. And we cut to a week earlier. Herbie talking to Venture and her explaining everything, to Venture. Venture then goes to Cortez Tower in Nueva York, where she talks with an AI. The AI's daughter. AI's having kids is explained in this, actually, too. So the AI's daughter is missing. Also, her wife, Artist, is also left a while back. In the Thorite slums of Brooklyn, someone is sneaking around, avoiding being seen, and finds a cage, and hands the person in the cage an apple that was stolen. And so Kirby's gotten a signal explaining one of his mother's friends is in Transfer City. So Venture heads over there. Hooks up with Mug. They talk a bit. Mug's a little impressed by Venture's cybernetics. And they then catch up with Sian, who is just unloading the flamethrower just for the fun of it. But it's pointed out that there's no fuel source attached to the flamethrower. And so she goes all Human Torch. Turns out that Sian is mother of the missing girl, Bella. Cut back to the 2 kids talking, and the one in the cage explains that she can't see, introduces herself as being Bella, so there's that. And Bella explained, and her new friend explains that when his family was killed, they must have missed him because he's always so little and always good at hiding. So Venture, Mug, and Sion head back towards Nueva York to find Bella. Um, and someone apparently has just managed to snag the key to the cell. It is, of course, our young friend, Bella's young friend. So Bella is freed, and her and her friend move along. And just in time to run into Mug and Cyan. Fight breaks out. It turns out that Bella is covered in what appears to be gemstones. Everyone's all happy, they're all together, and they're about to touch hands, and then their powers all go haywire, and the four of them all die. Well, three of the four. The invisible boy survives until Herbie kills him in Venture, because he tried to remake his mother's friends, but well, something just keeps going wrong. And it ends with Herbie standing over 5 dead bodies saying, "I'm sorry, Mommy, I'll bring them back next time. The 4 will come back." Yeah, it's, Moving on, we've got Spider-Man Velocity, number 4. So where we left off in Spider-Man Velocity, Mary Jane and Ben Urich were investigating a supposed ghost story. Turns out, though, it wasn't a ghost they were actually going after, but rather a speedster. The speedster was moving fast enough that they couldn't be seen by the human eye. So Spider-Man made a supercharged speed suit, so he could keep up with her. But that's not exactly going well, and yeah. Turns out that the young girl's mother has been inadvertently telling her daughter very untrue lies. Well, I wouldn't say lies, not malicious lies, but about her father and her father's death. Turns out that the newspaper story done on him was actually done at his request to make sure that people knew about it. However, she always figured it was the reporter who came out looking for him, trying to help, basically to say, hey, as a means of alerting Norman Osborn to where the guy was. But that's not the case. So Spider-Man is now moving so fast he can't be seen or noticed, or perceived, actually, is how he puts it. So he leaves a whole bunch of notes for MJ. Eats a lot. Goes to the lab used to belong to Dr. Octavius, and has to learn an entirely new scientific discipline. The 10 seconds it's going to take for him to do what he needs to do. He managed to save a whole bunch of people real quick like. And even very quickly defeat Swarm. Though fighting a bad guy you can't fight back doesn't seem to scratch the itch he feels. Well, it turns out that what he tried to do with the science just didn't work. And then he goes to the graves of Aunt May and Uncle Ben to try and get help. However, the girl wakes up and leaves. Apparently, a sign has been left for. But Spidey has left her some signs to try to slow down, stop, hold up. But yeah. Now, one thing Spider-Man noticed that because he's moving so fast, the screens in Times Square can't. He's not seeing them. So he managed to find a different frequency that he could hijack to get, so that he could talk to Haley. And finally, he said, I was hoping maybe we could just talk. However, she turns to punch him, saying, "Keep on hoping." And that's where the issue ends. Alrighty, now we got the last book of the video. Annihilation, Scourge, Alpha. Yeah, I got a couple of Alpha books this week. So, yet another history lesson. Back in 2007, around the time that Civil War was kicking off, Marvel also put out a small event set in space called Annihilation. Annihilation actually managed to be a much better crossover. That was a better and more on time and consistent event than Civil War, and it would end up beginning the great Marvel's great cosmic revival. Spinning out of Annihilation were a new Nova solo book, and then I think a year or so later there was a sequel, Annihilation Conquest, out of which came another spin-off book, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is basically the Guardians which was the first steps of how the Guardians were portrayed in the movies. So it was kind of an important thing, because if it weren't for Annihilation, the Guardians would not be what they are today. Anyway, so the big villain of Annihilation was longtime Fantastic Four villain and ruler of the Negative Zone, Annihilus. Big bug. Big bug, the living death that walks. Yeah. He's a bad dude. So we begin in the southern hemisphere of the planet Nephig in the Negative Zone, Incursion Day +1. Blastar and some of his soldiers are walking a battlefield, asking, and Blastar wants to know what happened. Then it's immediately thought that okay, this is something that Annihilus has done. Meanwhile, on the Miles Spires, also in the Negative Zone, Incursion Day +4. Bellurians are attacking the people of Annihilus, though they're not conventional Bellurians. And Annihilus is not happy with this. He's like, fine, we'll go to war with Blastar then. We'll kick his ass. Blastar's ship even shows up, and so Annihilus is shot out of the sky, and it crashes down, and Blastar and Annihilus talking like, hey, look, yeah, I'm not. Those might have once been Bellurians there, but they're not Bellurians anymore. And here's what attacked my people. So Yeah. Turns out they're from what is known as the Cancerverse. The Cancerverse is a side dimension that popped up, I want to say, in the aftermath of War of Kings. And in fact, for a while, Star-Lord, Richard Rider, and Thanos were all thought to be dead there, or to have died there. They came back. So, Annihilation and Blastar join forces, leave with a bunch of other, with what troops they can, and they continue on, losing battle after losing battle, until finally the Revengers, the Cancerverse versions of the Avengers, pop up. Cap, Revenger version of analog for Cap, Wasp, Giant Man, Scarlet Witch, and the Hulk. Yeah, the battle just goes even further. You know, the advantage goes even further away from the negative zone. So they figure. And so Annihilus takes the ship through a portal. He's found a way to create a dimensional portal, which is in fact what the Revengers are looking for, is his dimensional portal. Annihilus makes his way through the portal and goes to the positive zone. She describes as being a dimension full of fierce warriors, powerful beings, and great heroes. Well, meanwhile, on the space station, Cosmo and Nova are, well, Nova's returning some booze into what he thought was a toilet. But no, the toilet was where he got the water splash on his face from. He puked into the ventilation system. So he goes to the bar, and Niles' ship appears. And it's closer and closer, and so puts on his helmet, flies through the window, manages to stop the ship, busts on in there, and Annihilus is there and says, "Hey, cool, I found you. Good. I need your help. I need the Nova Corps." Well, slight problem. The Nova Corps is dead. And was killed back in Guardians by the Universal Church of Truth. Back in the negative zone, however, the leader of the Revengers has managed to make it through to Blastar. The leader is revealed to be none other than the Sentry. And so we'll be getting a Nova one-shot, a Fantastic Four one-shot, Beta Ray Bill one-shot, a Silver Surfer one-shot, and, of course, as this is the Alpha, there is an Omega. Alright, that is it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the search box down below. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I put new content. This is Rock Horse Box signing off saying, live long and rock hard.